Every day, many people around the world try to improve their English. Some want to speak better, some want to write better, and some just want to understand English more easily. This is exactly why the YouTube channel Fluent English Journey exists. The channel is designed to help people learn English in a natural and practical way. The host, Blake, always starts his videos by welcoming everyone warmly. He reminds viewers to subscribe so they can receive daily tips that make learning English easier. The main goal of the channel is simple: to help people learn English by listening to real-life situations and practicing the way native speakers communicate in everyday life. In today's lesson, Blake tells a story about a man named Daniel. Daniel works as a project manager at a very busy marketing company. His job is full of responsibilities. He has to organize projects, guide his team, solve problems, and communicate clearly with many people. Because his work is demanding, Daniel usually starts his day earlier than most people. He likes to have enough time to prepare for everything he needs to do. One Monday morning, Daniel woke up at exactly 6 a.m. The first thing he remembered was that he had a very important presentation at 9 a.m. He didn't panic. Instead, he got out of bed quickly. While making his breakfast, he reviewed his presentation slides. He drank his morning coffee, checked every part of the slides, and made sure that everything looked professional and easy to understand. By 7:30 a.m., he was already on the train on his way to the office. During his train ride, something interesting happened. Daniel overheard two colleagues talking about a recent project that had failed. They were calmly discussing the mistakes they had made and thinking about ways to improve next time. Daniel noticed how polite and professional their conversation was, even though they were talking about a problem. They used respectful language, stayed calm, and focused on solutions. Daniel realized that this kind of communication is very important in the workplace. It is especially useful when giving feedback or dealing with difficult situations. When Daniel arrived at the office, he walked straight to the meeting room to check on his team. The room was already busy. People were setting up laptops, adjusting slides, and preparing documents. Some team members looked stressed and worried. They were afraid something might go wrong during the presentation. Seeing this, Daniel wanted to help. He said to them, "I really appreciate all the effort everyone has put into this project. Let's go through the key points together." His kind and positive words made the team feel more relaxed and confident. During the presentation, Daniel spoke clearly and calmly. He explained the new marketing strategy step by step. He made sure even complicated ideas were simple and easy to understand. He also used real-life examples to help the audience connect with the information. One example he shared was a previous campaign his team managed for a small local cafe. By creating a smart marketing plan, the cafe increased its number of customers by almost 30%. Daniel explained how his team identified the cafe's problems, created a social media strategy, and monitored customer responses to make improvements. Sharing real examples helped the audience see that careful planning can create real results. After the presentation, Daniel showed the audience how the cafe benefited from his team's strategy. He explained that using real examples can build trust because clients can see that the ideas really work. Once the meeting ended, Daniel returned to his desk feeling satisfied. He noticed a new email from a client asking for a follow-up meeting to discuss some changes. Daniel didn't respond immediately. He took a moment to think about the best way to reply. He wanted his email to be clear, professional, and helpful. He wrote a short but well-structured message suggesting 3 possible meeting times. This showed the client that Daniel is organized, respectful, and ready to take action when needed. Later in the afternoon, Daniel met his friend Sarah for a quick coffee break. They hadn't seen each other for a few days, so they talked about their weekend plans, books they were reading, and hobbies they enjoyed. During the conversation, Daniel heard several new idiomatic expressions he had never learned before. Instead of pretending to understand, he politely asked Sarah to explain them. She happily gave examples. Daniel realized that informal conversations with friends are a great way to learn new words and understand English as it is naturally used in daily life. When Daniel returned home that evening, his wife Emma had already prepared a warm dinner. They sat together, talked about their day, and discussed their plans for the upcoming weekend. They decided to take a small trip to the countryside to relax and enjoy nature. During the conversation, Daniel practiced speaking clearly, choosing the right words, and listening carefully to Emma's ideas. He understood that simple daily conversations at home are just as important for improving English as professional conversations at work. At the end of the day, Daniel reflected on everything that had happened. He realized that every situation during the day gave him a chance to improve his English. Listening to people on the train, giving a presentation at work, writing emails, or talking to friends and family, all of these moments helped him learn something new. His day showed that learning English is not just about studying. It is about paying attention, practicing, and using English in real life. By doing this consistently, anyone can reach an advanced level, like C1 or C2, and communicate confidently in any situation. Learning English well is not just about reading books or memorizing grammar rules. It is also about listening carefully, noticing new words and expressions, and speaking with confidence and clarity. Every day, we have chances to practice English if we pay attention to real-life situations. Later that week, Daniel had another very interesting day. On Wednesday morning, he received a phone call from Mr. Thompson, a longtime client. Mr. Thompson worked for a large logistics company, and he rarely called Daniel directly. So, when the phone rang, Daniel immediately knew that this conversation would be important. During the call, Mr. Thompson explained his concerns, goals, and expectations for a new marketing campaign. Daniel listened very carefully. He asked questions to make sure he fully understood everything. Sometimes he repeated what the client said in his own words to confirm his understanding. This technique, called active listening, helps prevent misunderstandings and shows the client that you are paying full attention. After the call, Daniel wrote detailed notes so he wouldn't forget any important information. Then he began drafting a proposal for the new campaign. While Daniel was working, his colleague Laura walked by and looked at his draft. She noticed a few parts that could be improved and kindly shared her suggestions. Daniel welcomed her feedback and asked her to explain her ideas more clearly. Laura suggested making the visuals brighter and more modern so they would attract younger audiences on social media. Daniel appreciated her advice and added her suggestions to the proposal. Moments like this reminded him how teamwork and listening to colleagues can lead to smarter and more effective ideas. At lunchtime, Daniel went to a small cafe near the office to take a short break. There, he met his friend James, who worked as a software developer. They enjoyed their meal while talking about technology trends and new tools in the industry. James told Daniel about a new AI tool that could analyze customer behavior and predict trends. Daniel was curious. He asked questions about how the tool worked, what data it used, and how reliable it was. By listening carefully and asking thoughtful questions, Daniel learned useful information that could help him make better marketing campaigns in the future. Later that afternoon, Daniel joined a team brainstorming session. He encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely and reminded them that there were no bad suggestions during brainstorming. One team member, Sophia, suggested using short, creative videos on social media. Another, Mark, recommended including real customer testimonials to build trust and credibility. Daniel listened to all the ideas with interest. Then he summarized the main points and showed the team how to combine their suggestions into a strong, cohesive plan. This experience reminded Daniel that advanced English listening is more than just understanding words. It is about understanding the intentions, emotions, and deeper meaning behind what people say. This skill helps him lead his team effectively and ensures that everyone feels heard and valued. After the brainstorming session, Daniel still had one more important task: a video conference with an international client based in Germany. The client spoke English well, but had a strong accent and used some technical terms Daniel had not heard before. Instead of getting confused, Daniel stayed calm and focused. When he didn't understand something, he politely asked the client to repeat or explain it. He also took short notes to remember key points. Sometimes he repeated important points in his own words to confirm that he understood correctly. This method made the conversation smoother and more professional. After the meeting, Daniel reflected on what happened. He realized that understanding different accents, speech speeds, and communication styles is an essential part of listening in the real world. In international business, everyone speaks English differently. To improve his listening skills, Daniel made a plan. He would start watching videos and listening to podcasts from people around the world, including speakers from Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America. This way, he could train his ears to understand a wider variety of accents and voices. Later that evening, Daniel and his wife Emma went for a short walk around their neighborhood. The air was cool and fresh, and the quiet atmosphere made it the perfect time for a meaningful conversation. They talked about their day, shared ideas, and discussed plans for the coming weekend. Even during a simple walk, Daniel practiced speaking clearly, choosing the right words, and listening carefully. He understood that every situation, whether at work, with friends, or at home, gives him a chance to improve his English. Daniel and his wife, Emma, often talked about their personal goals and long-term dreams. One evening, during a quiet conversation, Emma shared that she wanted to learn a new language next year. Daniel admired her enthusiasm and encouraged her. He suggested some simple ways she could practice every day, like reading short articles, using language learning apps, or watching videos in the new language. As they talked, Daniel practiced speaking carefully. He chose the right words, expressed agreement or disagreement politely, and asked thoughtful follow-up questions. He realized that these small, everyday conversations were excellent opportunities to build fluency, improve vocabulary, and gain confidence in a natural and enjoyable way. The next day at work, Daniel faced an unexpected problem. One of his marketing campaigns did not perform as well as he had hoped. He reviewed the results carefully and noticed that the message had not reached the target audience effectively. Instead of panicking or blaming anyone, Daniel stayed calm. He called his team together and encouraged an open discussion. He asked each person to share their views on why the campaign did not succeed. Daniel listened carefully without interrupting, showing respect for everyone's opinions. Through this honest and constructive discussion, the team discovered several small mistakes in the campaign's structure and design. These mistakes were not huge, but they had weakened the results. Daniel then guided the team to make improvements. He suggested adjusting the message, refining the visuals, and testing different approaches to see what worked better. This situation reminded Daniel that listening is not just about understanding language, it is also about understanding people. When team members feel heard, they work better together, find smarter solutions, and feel more motivated. This experience showed how important it is to listen carefully, understand feedback, and act on new information. These skills help professionals stay flexible and solve problems effectively. That evening, Daniel attended a professional networking event held at a modern conference hall near the city center. The room was lively, filled with people from different industries introducing themselves, shaking hands, and exchanging business cards. Daniel met several new professionals, including Anna, a communications consultant, and Michael, a business analyst. They talked about new trends in marketing, changes in the business world, and their personal experiences at work. Daniel paid attention not only to the content of their conversations, but also to how they spoke, their tone, vocabulary, phrasing, and expressions. He practiced paraphrasing their ideas to confirm that he understood correctly and to keep the conversation flowing naturally. Networking events like this are excellent opportunities for learners to sharpen listening skills because the discussions are fast, spontaneous, and full of advanced vocabulary. On Friday morning, Daniel had a scheduled meeting with his mentor, Mr. Harris, an experienced marketing professional with decades of knowledge. During the meeting, Mr. Harris shared stories from his career. He spoke about times when he faced difficult clients, tight deadlines, or unexpected challenges. He explained how he handled these situations with patience and professionalism. Daniel listened carefully to every detail. He asked thoughtful and meaningful questions to understand better. He also noticed how Mr. Harris used examples to make complex ideas easier to understand. Through these stories, Daniel learned new idioms, advanced vocabulary, and practical communication strategies. He realized that listening to stories is not only enjoyable, but also one of the most effective ways to learn natural, advanced English. After meeting with his mentor, Daniel returned to his office. On the way, he ran into Laura, a colleague who invited him for a short coffee break. They talked about upcoming projects and shared ideas for improving team performance. Daniel noticed that Laura used many phrasal verbs and advanced expressions naturally, without thinking about them. Inspired, he tried using some of these expressions in his own sentences. Paying attention to how native speakers naturally use language helped him sound more fluent and confident. In the afternoon, Daniel had to prepare a detailed report for his manager. The report needed to summarize the team's achievements for the week, point out challenges, and present clear suggestions for improvement. As he started writing, Daniel remembered a tip from Emma: use clear language, avoid unnecessary jargon, and organize your points logically. He followed this advice carefully. He made sure each section of the report was easy to read, concise, and complete. He included only the essential information and arranged everything in a logical order so that his manager could understand the full picture quickly. Writing summaries like this helped Daniel reflect on everything he had learned during the week. It reinforced his communication skills and deepened his understanding of advanced English structures. He realized that writing, listening, and participating in discussions all work together to improve fluency. By listening carefully during meetings, asking thoughtful questions, and summarizing information in writing, he strengthened his understanding and could communicate more effectively in professional settings. Later that day, Daniel called his friend Sophia to make plans for the upcoming weekend. Sophia was excited and suggested visiting a local art exhibition. Daniel was curious and asked her several questions about the event. He wanted to know what kind of art would be displayed, who the featured artists were, and what the main theme of the exhibition was. Sophia explained everything clearly. She described the different types of artwork, the styles used by the artists, and the stories behind some of the pieces. Daniel found her descriptions interesting, so he wrote down the names of a few artworks he wanted to see. Conversations like this helped Daniel practice listening carefully, asking clarifying questions, and responding naturally, which are important skills for confident communication in everyday life. That evening, Daniel and his wife Emma prepared dinner together. While chopping vegetables, mixing ingredients, and checking the recipe, they talked about cooking methods and shared helpful tips. They also planned meals for the upcoming week. Daniel used this time to practice English. He focused on describing actions clearly and using precise words for ingredients, tools, and steps. He asked Emma questions and responded thoughtfully to her ideas. Daniel realized that even simple activities like cooking could become effective practice for listening and speaking when he paid attention to vocabulary, clarity, and the natural flow of conversation. On Saturday morning, Daniel attended a seminar on sustainable living at a local community center. The speaker, Mr. Allen, explained how families could reduce waste, save energy, and develop eco-friendly habits in daily life. Daniel listened carefully and took notes while the speaker provided examples, statistics, and practical tips. At the end of the seminar, Daniel asked thoughtful questions to understand how he could apply these strategies at home. Participating in community events like seminars helps learners practice English in a structured but natural setting. It improves comprehension, expands vocabulary, and gives experience responding politely and intelligently. After the seminar, Daniel met his friend Rachel for a walk in the park. As they strolled along the tree-lined paths, they discussed everything Daniel had learned at the seminar. Rachel shared her own experiences with sustainable habits and explained small changes she had made in her home. Daniel noticed that Rachel spoke smoothly, using complex sentence structures and advanced vocabulary. Her confident speaking inspired him to try similar patterns in his own conversations. Daniel understood that observing how others use language in relaxed situations is one of the best ways to improve fluency and confidence. Later that day, Daniel returned home and spent some quiet time reading a book recommended by his mentor, Mr. Harris. As he read, he underlined words he did not know. He tried to guess their meanings from context and then checked the dictionary to confirm. Daniel knew that reading and listening work together. Reading exposes learners to new vocabulary, different sentence structures, and more complex ideas, while listening shows how those structures are used in real speech. Together, these skills strengthen overall comprehension. On Sunday, Daniel and Emma planned a relaxing family activity. They decided to visit a nearby botanical garden. The weather was pleasant, and the garden was full of colorful flowers, tall trees, and carefully arranged plants from around the world. While walking, they discussed the unique characteristics of different plants, such as leaf shapes, growth patterns, and sunlight requirements. Daniel practiced describing the plants in detail and asked Emma questions whenever he was curious. He also listened carefully as Emma explained facts she had learned from gardening articles. This simple activity reminded Daniel that real-life experiences, like observing nature and talking about it, are powerful ways to strengthen listening and speaking skills. Later that afternoon, Daniel attended an online webinar about time management. The speaker, Miss Collins, shared strategies for prioritizing tasks, organizing schedules, setting realistic goals, and avoiding common distractions. Daniel listened attentively and took detailed notes. He thought carefully about how to apply these strategies to improve his work routine and reduce stress. Participating in webinars and online courses exposes learners to advanced vocabulary, professional expressions, and different speaking styles. It also helps learners practice understanding information delivered quickly and clearly. That evening, Daniel reflected on his entire week. He thought about all the moments when he had listened carefully, spoken thoughtfully, practiced new vocabulary, and improved his communication. Whether he was attending client meetings, participating in team discussions, chatting with friends, talking with Emma, or learning through seminars and webinars, every interaction was an opportunity to practice advanced English. Daniel realized that mastering a language is not just about studying. It is about consistent practice, attentive listening, and thoughtful speaking. He felt proud of the progress he had made. However, the new week brought fresh challenges. On Monday morning, Daniel arrived at the office and immediately noticed tension in the air. His colleague Michael, a senior team member known for his high standards, was reviewing the latest project draft. Michael appeared frustrated and concerned. Daniel could tell from Michael's serious expression that something in the project wasn't going as expected. He approached calmly and asked, "Is everything all right? Did you find an issue in the draft?" Michael sighed and explained that several sections of the campaign message were unclear and confusing. The tone did not match the client's expectations, and the visuals were not aligned with the original brand guidelines. Daniel listened carefully, nodding as he absorbed the feedback. Instead of reacting defensively, he asked clarifying questions to fully understand what needed improvement. This moment reminded Daniel how essential active listening, calm communication, and a positive attitude are, especially when facing challenges at work. As Michael reviewed the draft, Daniel watched how he analyzed each part, pointing out strengths as well as areas needing improvement. Michael's feedback was direct but respectful. By observing his colleague's approach, Daniel learned how to critique work in a professional and constructive way, helping others improve without discouraging them. After the draft review, Daniel had a scheduled call with Mr. Carter, a client who wanted to expand his small logistics business. Mr. Carter explained the difficulties he faced, especially in reaching customers and improving digital marketing. Daniel listened attentively, taking notes on key points. Occasionally, he repeated important information back to the client to confirm understanding. This helped build trust and avoided misunderstandings. Once Daniel had a clear picture of the situation, he proposed a personalized marketing strategy. He used simple, precise language and included real-life examples to make the plan easy to understand. Mr. Carter appreciated how clearly Daniel presented his ideas and found his suggestions practical and effective. During lunch, Daniel met his friend Laura at a small cafe near the office. Laura worked in human resources, and their conversations often focused on professional communication. That day, she introduced Daniel to structured storytelling, a technique that makes presentations more engaging and memorable. She described a training session she had led where employees shared real-life work situations and explained how they solved problems. Daniel listened carefully as Laura explained how she kept the audience engaged using tone, pacing, and emphasis at the right moments. He found the technique fascinating and made mental notes on how to apply structured storytelling in his own presentations. These conversations helped Daniel notice subtle parts of communication, details that advanced learners need to master. In the afternoon, Daniel joined his team for a creative workshop to generate ideas for upcoming social media campaigns. The session was lively and full of suggestions. Sophia proposed using interactive polls to gather audience feedback, while Mark suggested short tutorial videos to explain products visually. Daniel listened carefully to both ideas and then summarized them for the group. He guided a discussion on how to combine suggestions into a strong, cohesive campaign. By paraphrasing each team member's ideas, he made sure everyone felt their voice was valued. His clear communication created a collaborative atmosphere, allowing the team to build on each other's ideas. This moment reminded Daniel how powerful active listening can be. When people feel heard, they participate more confidently and share better ideas. When a leader summarizes, clarifies, and encourages teamwork, the group becomes more productive and creative. Daniel realized that his role was not just to contribute ideas, but also to ensure the team worked smoothly together. By the end of the workshop, he felt proud of how well the team had collaborated. Later that afternoon, Daniel received an email from Anna, a client. She had concerns about the clarity of a marketing proposal he had sent earlier. Instead of replying immediately, Daniel carefully read the email, highlighted the sections she found confusing, and reviewed the proposal to see where clarification was needed. He then composed a thoughtful and professional response. In the email, he explained each section in clear, simple terms and added extra examples to make the strategy easy to understand. He used a polite, formal tone but kept the message friendly and approachable. By doing so, Daniel demonstrated an advanced skill, adjusting tone to fit the situation. Formal communication does not need to sound cold or complicated. It can still be warm, helpful, and easy to read. Anna appreciated his detailed explanation and thanked him for addressing her questions thoroughly. That evening, Daniel and Emma relaxed at home and discussed weekend plans. Emma suggested visiting a historical museum she had recently read about. Daniel was curious and asked several follow-up questions. What kind of exhibits were there? Why were they historically significant? What were the best times to visit? Emma explained each point clearly, sharing facts about the exhibits and describing the museum layout. Daniel practiced summarizing the information in his own words, which helped strengthen his paraphrasing skills and use of precise vocabulary in natural conversations. The next day brought another challenge that required strong listening skills, continuing Daniel's week of learning, practicing, and improving his English in real-life situations. Daniel had a conference call with international partners from several countries. Each speaker had a unique accent, and many used advanced technical terms. Daniel focused carefully throughout the call. Whenever something was unclear, he asked polite and direct questions to confirm the meaning. He also took detailed notes on key points, agreements, and action items. By the end of the meeting, Daniel had not only understood the discussion, but also collected useful insights he could share with his team. Experiences like this reminded him that advanced listening requires concentration, flexibility, and active engagement. Later in the afternoon, Daniel went for a short walk with James, his friend from the software department. They often talked about new developments in technology, and today James explained the latest AI tools used in marketing. He described how these tools could track customer engagement, predict buying behavior, and analyze trends across platforms. Daniel listened carefully and asked specific questions. He wanted to understand not only how the tools worked, but also their limitations, reliability, and real-world applications. Listening to technical explanations helped Daniel expand his vocabulary, understand digital tools better, and practice responding clearly and accurately. Conversations like this gave him confidence in discussing complex topics, an important skill for any advanced English learner. After the walk, Daniel attended a small workshop led by Miss Collins, an expert in digital communications. The workshop focused on writing clear and professional emails. Miss Collins explained how to organize messages, choose the right tone, and make emails easy to read. She showed examples of both good and bad emails, pointing out small but important details like subject lines, greetings, and closings. During the session, Daniel practiced writing sample emails and received feedback from Miss Collins and other participants. He learned how to make sentences concise, use polite expressions when requesting something, and structure information logically so the reader could follow easily. Participating in hands-on activities like this allowed Daniel to immediately apply what he learned, making the experience practical and meaningful. In the evening, Daniel attended a virtual networking session with professionals from different industries. He met interesting people, including Rachel, an entrepreneur, and Michael, a logistics manager. They discussed challenges in their fields and shared tips for success. Daniel paid close attention to how they expressed their ideas, noticing how they used long, complex sentences, politely disagreed when necessary, and took turns speaking respectfully. By observing their conversation patterns and participating when possible, Daniel strengthened both his listening and speaking skills. Dynamic, realistic discussions like these helped him practice understanding advanced vocabulary and complex ideas in real time. That night, Daniel and Emma spent time cooking dinner together. While preparing ingredients and following the recipe, they talked about different topics. Emma explained the nutritional benefits of various foods, suggested new cooking methods, and shared plans for upcoming social events. Daniel listened carefully, noting the descriptive words Emma used and the order in which she performed each step. He also practiced responding naturally, asking clarifying questions, and suggesting variations for the recipe. Even simple daily activities like cooking became valuable opportunities for listening and speaking practice, helping Daniel expand his vocabulary, form complete sentences, and express ideas confidently. The next day, Daniel had a review meeting with his mentor, Mr. Harris. During the session, Mr. Harris shared stories from his career, highlighting important lessons he had learned from both successes and mistakes. Daniel listened closely and asked questions to better understand specific situations. He noticed that Mr. Harris often used anecdotes to explain his points, which made the advice easier to remember and apply. By listening to stories, Daniel learned how context, examples, and real-life experiences help learners understand complex ideas and advanced vocabulary naturally. This part of Daniel's week showed that everyday activities, professional workshops, networking sessions, and mentoring meetings provide valuable opportunities for advanced learners to practice listening, speaking, and writing. By staying engaged, observing carefully, and asking questions, Daniel could continuously improve his English while also growing as a professional. Daniel continued to improve his English fluency and confidence through active listening and thoughtful responses in real-life situations. He knew that listening to stories, examples, and explanations is one of the most effective ways for advanced learners to understand how language works naturally. Later that morning, Daniel met his friend Sophia for a short coffee break. While enjoying their drinks, they discussed strategies for better team collaboration and ways to manage deadlines more effectively. Sophia shared how she prioritized her tasks and suggested approaches to improve communication within a team. Daniel listened carefully, asked thoughtful follow-up questions, and made mental notes about how he could use her ideas in his own work. Conversations like this showed him that active listening, responding appropriately, and learning from others are essential skills in professional life. In the afternoon, Daniel worked on a new campaign proposal for a client. He carefully reviewed the client's previous feedback, identified potential risks, and drafted solutions to address them. While writing, he thought about the language used in prior meetings and emails. He focused on keeping the message clear, maintaining a professional tone, and using formal vocabulary suitable for business communication. By reflecting on real examples he had experienced, Daniel was able to write precisely and in a way that was easy for the client to understand. Reviewing language from real interactions helps advanced learners recognize subtle differences in tone, idioms, and sentence structures, all important skills for professional settings. Later that evening, Daniel visited a local community center to join a discussion group about urban development. The session was led by Anna, a city planner who shared her insights on sustainable building practices and efficient city design. Daniel listened attentively, asked relevant questions, and took notes to summarize her points for the group. He found the discussion very useful because it exposed him to formal and semi-formal language, advanced vocabulary, and complex sentence structures in an authentic professional context. Participating in public conversations like this helps learners understand how people naturally organize ideas, explain processes, and interact politely in a group. After returning home, Daniel and his wife Emma spent time organizing their home library. While sorting books on the shelves, they talked about authors, genres, and interesting facts about the books they owned. Daniel used this as an opportunity to practice using precise adjectives, connecting ideas clearly, and giving detailed explanations. He described stories and characters, compared books he had read, and asked Emma about her favorite authors. Although this was a simple, everyday task, it became a meaningful exercise for practicing both listening and speaking. By paying attention to vocabulary, clarity, and logical order, learners can turn daily routines into valuable learning moments. Through all these experiences, Daniel understood that advanced English learning is not limited to classrooms or structured lessons. Every interaction with friends, colleagues, mentors, community members, or family offers a chance to improve fluency, comprehension, and confidence. Listening actively, responding thoughtfully, and using language intentionally in real-life situations are key strategies that help learners internalize expressions, idioms, and professional communication patterns naturally. That evening, Daniel attended a virtual seminar on time management and productivity. The speaker, Miss Collins, shared practical strategies for handling multiple projects efficiently. She explained methods such as prioritization matrices, daily and weekly scheduling, and delegating tasks effectively. Daniel listened carefully, took detailed notes, and considered how he could apply these strategies to his own work. Seminars like this are very valuable for advanced learners because they expose participants to complex vocabulary, structured speech, professional expressions, and idiomatic phrases commonly used in business contexts. After the seminar, Daniel met with his colleague James to discuss what they had learned. They compared notes, shared opinions, and debated which strategies would be most practical for their projects. Daniel noticed that James used formal debate language, conditionals, and nuanced expressions to explain his points. By participating in this kind of professional conversation, Daniel practiced expressing his thoughts clearly while reinforcing his understanding of advanced English structures. On another day, Daniel attended a training workshop on customer engagement. Rachel, a customer service expert, demonstrated how to handle client concerns politely and professionally. She showed techniques for using empathetic language, giving clear explanations, and phrasing responses respectfully. Daniel listened carefully, paying attention not only to the words, but also to the tone and pacing she used. Later, he practiced responding to sample scenarios, applying what he had learned to maintain clarity and professionalism. Exercises like these help advanced learners feel confident in real-life interactions, whether in professional meetings or casual conversations. Later in the week, Daniel joined a group discussion on environmental awareness at a local community center. Participants shared ideas about reducing waste, saving energy, and organizing community projects. Daniel listened attentively to different perspectives, asked follow-up questions to clarify, and summarized the key points for the group. Engaging in discussions like this helps learners process multiple streams of information, compare viewpoints, and respond thoughtfully, strengthening both comprehension and speaking skills. Daniel realized that advanced English learning is not just about studying grammar or memorizing vocabulary. It is about listening carefully, thinking critically, and responding naturally in real-time conversations. Doing this helps learners strengthen their vocabulary, improve comprehension, and organize their responses in a clear, logical way. That evening, Daniel reflected on the week. He thought about all the different ways he had practiced English outside the classroom. From attending seminars and workshops to discussing topics with colleagues, friends, and community members, every interaction had been an opportunity to practice advanced listening and speaking skills. He noticed that paying attention to tone, phrasing, vocabulary, and sentence structure in different settings helped him internalize language patterns naturally. Even casual conversations could become a practice opportunity, allowing him to use new expressions and refine his communication. By actively listening, asking thoughtful questions, and summarizing what he heard, Daniel could understand complex ideas more quickly and respond more effectively. Over time, his confidence in both professional and social conversations continued to grow. Over the weekend, Daniel and his wife Emma planned a small trip together. They discussed travel options, nearby destinations, and practical arrangements such as transport, timing, and activities. Daniel asked Emma to describe each place in detail, including possible routes, interesting sights, and fun things to do. He listened carefully and responded naturally, suggesting alternatives, sharing his perspective, and discussing the pros and cons of each option. Conversations like this, even about everyday plans, are excellent opportunities to practice advanced English. They allow learners to use descriptive vocabulary, connect ideas in longer sentences, and apply complex language structures in real-life situations. Later, Daniel took some quiet time to write a reflective summary of his week. He reviewed meetings, discussions, social interactions, and informal conversations with colleagues, friends, and family. While writing, he noted new words, idiomatic expressions, and sentence patterns he had encountered. Reflecting and writing helps advanced learners reinforce memory, understand context, and improve comprehension. Writing also allows Daniel to organize his thoughts, practice logical sequencing, and see how vocabulary and structures fit naturally in English communication. On Sunday, Daniel attended an online panel discussion about business strategy. The speakers, Miss Fallon and Mr. Carter, shared case studies, discussed challenges companies face, and offered practical solutions for improving efficiency and decision-making. Daniel listened attentively, took careful notes, and asked questions whenever clarification was needed. After the panel, he summarized the key points in his own words. Exposure to panel discussions helps learners hear different speaking styles, formal vocabulary, and nuanced expressions. It also shows how professionals communicate complex ideas clearly and persuasively. Later that day, Daniel and Emma spent time organizing their garden. While planting, pruning, and arranging flowers, they discussed plant care, seasonal changes, and gardening techniques. Daniel listened closely as Emma shared her knowledge, asked follow-up questions, and added his own observations. Hands-on activities like gardening can become meaningful learning opportunities by paying attention to details, responding thoughtfully, and explaining ideas clearly. Learners can practice both listening and speaking in a relaxed and practical environment. That evening, Daniel reflected on the week as a whole. He realized that every conversation, meeting, and activity offered an opportunity to practice English naturally. From professional workshops and client calls to informal discussions and family activities, each interaction helped him improve listening, comprehension, and speaking skills. He understood that mastering advanced English is not only about studying in a classroom. It is about paying attention, asking clarifying questions, paraphrasing information, and responding thoughtfully in daily life. Daniel's week showed him that consistent practice, careful observation, and active engagement are key to mastering advanced English. Every moment, no matter how ordinary it seems, can be a learning opportunity if approached with focus and intention. By observing language patterns, expanding vocabulary, and practicing structured communication in real contexts, Daniel gradually built confidence, fluency, and a natural command of English that could be applied in both professional and personal situations. On Monday morning, his week continued with a project review session with his team. Sophia began by presenting updates on their current marketing campaign. Daniel listened carefully, noticing how she used transition phrases to connect ideas and explained her points clearly. When Sophia asked for suggestions, Daniel shared his thoughts in an organized way. By paying close attention, he was able to respond confidently and contribute meaningfully, showing how consistent practice in real-life situations strengthens advanced English skills. This week showed Daniel how important careful listening is, especially in professional settings. By paying attention, he could participate more effectively and communicate clearly. During his midday break, Daniel met with his friend James, who had just returned from a business trip. James shared stories about a conference he had attended, describing the presentations, the speaking styles of different presenters, and the latest trends he had observed in the industry. Daniel asked detailed questions to understand more and keep the conversation engaging. By discussing real experiences, Daniel strengthened both his listening skills and his ability to explain complex ideas clearly. Informal but focused conversations like this are very helpful for advanced learners because they involve active comprehension, critical thinking, and using precise vocabulary naturally. Later in the morning, Daniel had a one-on-one meeting with his mentor, Mr. Harris, to talk about leadership strategies. Mr. Harris shared stories from challenging projects, explaining how he made decisions, coordinated teams, and managed client expectations. Daniel listened carefully, asked for clarification when necessary, and summarized the key points in his own words. Learning through storytelling in professional contexts helped him notice important aspects of language, including advanced vocabulary, idiomatic expressions, and formal sentence structures. This method showed Daniel how stories can teach language naturally while giving useful professional advice. In the afternoon, Daniel joined a client call with Mr. Carter, a small business owner who needed help improving customer retention. Mr. Carter described his problems and explained what he expected in detail. Daniel used active listening, repeated the main points to confirm understanding, and asked thoughtful follow-up questions. After the call, he created a strategy plan and shared it with his team, showing solutions and clear steps to follow. This experience taught Daniel that advanced listening involves more than just hearing words. It requires understanding the full idea, noticing important details, and responding in a clear, organized way. Later that day, Daniel reflected on all these interactions. He realized that every moment, structured meetings, mentorship discussions, and informal chats with colleagues helped him improve listening, comprehension, and speaking skills. By paying attention to vocabulary, sentence structure, tone, and by summarizing and asking questions, he practiced language actively and naturally. Daniel understood that consistent engagement in real-life conversations, along with reflection, is one of the most effective ways for advanced learners to build confidence and fluency. By the end of Monday, he knew that mastering advanced English is not only about studying grammar or memorizing words. It is about listening carefully, responding thoughtfully, and applying knowledge in everyday professional and personal situations. Every meeting, discussion, or casual conversation provides an opportunity to notice new expressions, practice clarity, and improve natural communication skills. During the week, Daniel also visited a local community center where Anna, a city planner, hosted a discussion about sustainability. Participants talked about reducing waste, saving energy, and organizing programs to help the community. Daniel listened carefully, asked detailed questions, and took notes on important ideas. He also joined small group discussions with other attendees to talk about practical ways to implement these initiatives. Experiences like these help advanced learners hear different speaking styles, learn new vocabulary, and practice responding thoughtfully in semi-formal contexts. Being active in community discussions also shows that listening and participating in real conversations strengthens both comprehension and speaking confidence. That evening, Daniel returned home and cooked dinner with his wife, Emma. While preparing the food, They discussed healthy recipes, portion sizes, and meal planning for the week. Daniel focused on using descriptive language, explained steps clearly, and responded naturally to Emma's ideas. He practiced asking clarifying questions, giving feedback, and sharing his own suggestions. Simple daily tasks like cooking can become valuable opportunities for practicing advanced English, especially when learners pay attention to vocabulary, tone, and the natural flow of conversation. The next day, Daniel attended a virtual seminar on professional communication skills. Miss Collins, the instructor, explained how to write effective emails, give clear explanations, and use polite phrasing in speaking or writing. Daniel took notes, watched examples, and practiced creating his own responses using the techniques he had learned. Seminars like this are very helpful for advanced learners because they expose participants to professional vocabulary, structured speech patterns, and practical strategies that can be applied immediately at work or in daily life. Later in the afternoon, Daniel went for a walk in the park with his friend Rachel. They talked about what they had learned recently and shared experiences from work. Daniel noticed how Rachel used complex sentence structures, descriptive words, and confident phrasing, which inspired him to try using similar patterns in his own speech. By observing others in relaxed, natural conversations, Daniel continued to improve his fluency and confidence. Through all these activities, Daniel realized that advanced English learning happens not just in classrooms, but in everyday real-life situations. Listening carefully, asking questions, summarizing information, and responding thoughtfully are the most effective ways to build confidence, fluency, and a natural understanding of English. By combining professional meetings, informal conversations, seminars, community discussions, and everyday activities, Daniel found new ways to practice language consistently and naturally. During the week, Daniel spent time with friends, colleagues, and family, using every opportunity to practice advanced English. One afternoon, he met his friend Rachel. They talked about current events, shared stories from work, and discussed personal goals. Rachel naturally used advanced vocabulary and complex sentence structures, and Daniel noticed this. He tried to include similar patterns in his own responses. Informal conversations like this are very helpful for learners because they allow you to practice listening carefully, noticing grammar and phrasing, and speaking naturally in relaxed situations. These conversations also give a chance to apply new vocabulary and expressions immediately, which reinforces learning. That evening, Daniel joined a team brainstorming session at work. He encouraged his colleagues to share creative ideas for an upcoming marketing campaign. Mark suggested using short video testimonials from satisfied clients, and Sophia proposed interactive online polls to gather feedback from the audience. Daniel listened carefully to every idea, summarized the key points, and guided the team on how to combine them into a single, effective plan. This session showed how advanced English listening and speaking are used in professional settings. Learners must understand different viewpoints, process information accurately, and respond thoughtfully in real time. Later, Daniel participated in a video conference with international partners, including Mr. Thompson from Germany. Each person spoke with a different accent, and some used technical terms Daniel had not heard before. He stayed focused, asked polite clarifying questions, and repeated important points to make sure everyone understood. Listening to speakers with varied accents is very helpful for advanced learners because it improves real-world listening skills and teaches how to adapt to different communication styles. In the evening, Daniel and his wife Emma planned their weekend activities. They talked about possible travel destinations, necessary arrangements, and fun things to do. Daniel listened carefully to Emma's ideas, asked questions to clarify details, and shared his own suggestions. Conversations like this allow learners to practice expressing opinions, describing options clearly, and keeping dialogue natural and smooth. They also give a chance to use descriptive vocabulary and connect ideas logically. On Wednesday, Daniel faced a professional challenge. One client was not happy with the first draft of a marketing campaign. Daniel reviewed the client's feedback carefully and organized a team meeting to discuss improvements. During the discussion, he listened to every team member's perspective without interrupting, asked questions to clarify suggestions, and took notes on possible solutions. By processing feedback and adapting plans thoughtfully, Daniel demonstrated strong professional communication skills. This example shows that listening, understanding, and responding carefully are essential for effective teamwork and problem-solving. Later in the afternoon, Daniel attended a local seminar on business innovation. Miss Allen, the speaker, explained recent industry trends, current challenges, and strategies for adapting to market changes. Daniel listened attentively, took notes, and participated in the question-and-answer session at the end. Seminars like this help learners understand structured speech, learn specialized vocabulary, and practice responding thoughtfully in professional contexts. Engaging in discussions, asking questions, and summarizing key points are practical ways to strengthen both listening and speaking skills. After returning to the office, Daniel reflected on the day. He realized that attending meetings, participating in team discussions, joining seminars, and planning activities with his wife all provided valuable opportunities to practice advanced English. By focusing on careful listening, summarizing information, asking clarifying questions, and responding clearly, learners can steadily build fluency, confidence, and understanding in both professional and personal communication. Daniel understood that advanced English is learned best through active engagement in real-life situations, not just by studying textbooks. Every conversation, feedback session, or seminar is a chance to practice and improve skills naturally and meaningfully. Daniel's week continued with a one-on-one coaching session with his colleague Laura. She gave guidance on improving team collaboration, shared practical tips, and explained strategies for effective communication. Laura also discussed ways to resolve conflicts professionally. Daniel listened carefully, asked follow-up questions to understand her points better, and thought about how to apply her suggestions in his own work. Learning from colleagues helps learners hear different speaking styles, professional expressions, and real-world problem-solving approaches. Paying attention to how others explain ideas helps learners develop listening skills, expand vocabulary, and notice formal and polite language used in the workplace. Later that afternoon, Daniel worked on a weekly report. He summarized all the activities of the week, noted client feedback, and proposed strategies for improvement. While writing, he reflected on conversations, meetings, and observations he had made. Daniel focused on keeping the report clear, concise, and professional. Writing reports based on real experiences helps advanced learners reinforce comprehension, practice appropriate vocabulary, and organize ideas logically. Turning real-life observations into written form strengthens both language and professional skills at the same time. In the evening, Daniel met his friend Sophia for coffee. They discussed recent developments in technology, AI tools for marketing, and upcoming trends in their industry. Daniel listened carefully, asked clarifying questions when needed, and shared his own insights from previous projects. Conversations like this help learners practice understanding complex ideas, engage with advanced vocabulary, and respond naturally in professional and technical discussions. Observing how peers use language thoughtfully provides examples of how to express ideas clearly and confidently. On Thursday, Daniel joined a team workshop focused on social media strategies. Colleagues shared ideas for engaging campaigns, such as interactive content, short tutorial videos, and user-generated stories. Daniel facilitated the discussion by listening carefully, summarizing each point, and making sure everyone could contribute. This demonstrated the importance of active listening, organizing information, and responding effectively, skills essential for advanced learners in collaborative settings. By paraphrasing others' ideas and confirming understanding, Daniel ensured clear communication and showed leadership. Later, Daniel attended an online discussion about sustainable business practices. Participants shared examples of energy-saving initiatives, waste reduction methods, and community programs. Daniel asked thoughtful questions, took detailed notes, and discussed practical examples with others. Engaging in discussions like this exposes learners to advanced vocabulary, formal language structures, and professional expressions used in real contexts. Listening to multiple speakers, asking clarifying questions, and summarizing ideas helps learners develop fluency and confidence in handling complex topics. By the end of the day, Daniel reflected on all his experiences. From coaching sessions and team workshops to informal conversations with friends and professional online discussions, every interaction gave him a chance to practice advanced English. He noticed that active listening, asking questions for clarity, paraphrasing ideas, and responding thoughtfully were skills he used repeatedly. Whether in professional, technical, or casual settings, these strategies strengthened his comprehension, vocabulary, and ability to communicate clearly. Daniel realized that consistent engagement in real-life conversations and learning from different contexts is key for mastering advanced English and using it naturally in daily life. That Thursday evening, Daniel spent time with his wife Emma working in their garden. They talked about plant care, seasonal changes, and ideas to improve the garden's appearance. Daniel listened carefully to Emma's explanations, asked questions, and described his own actions while helping. Even simple activities like gardening can be useful for practicing listening and speaking, helping learners notice vocabulary, use descriptive words, and respond naturally in informal situations. On Friday, Daniel attended a client presentation led by Mr. Carter. The presentation included marketing results, data analysis, and recommendations for future campaigns. Daniel focused on listening closely, taking detailed notes, and preparing questions to clarify points he needed to understand. Attending professional presentations allows learners to practice understanding complex speech, interpreting information, and responding appropriately in formal contexts. Later, Daniel met his friend James to review ways to improve a current project. James explained technical details about client behavior and shared insights about marketing strategies. Daniel listened carefully, asked specific questions, and summarized the main points for the team. Technical discussions like this help learners understand specialized language and express their thoughts clearly. In the afternoon, Daniel went to a networking event where he met professionals from different fields, including Anna, Rachel, and Michael. They shared their experiences, challenges, and tips for success in their industries. Daniel paid attention to how they spoke, noticing their use of formal vocabulary, polite expressions, and structured sentences. He also joined the conversation when appropriate, practicing expressing his own ideas clearly while learning from others. Daniel's week continued with many opportunities to practice English in real life. On Friday, he attended a networking event where he met professionals from different fields, including Anna, Rachel, and Michael. They shared their experiences, challenges, and strategies in marketing, logistics, and business development. Daniel listened carefully, asked relevant questions, and added his own observations. Networking events like these expose learners to different accents, vocabulary, and professional communication styles. By paying attention to tone, phrasing, and how ideas are expressed, Learners can improve their understanding and confidence in real-world situations. That evening, Daniel and his wife Emma planned a community volunteer project. They discussed the tasks that needed to be done, who would take responsibility for each part, and how to organize the work efficiently. Daniel practiced using precise language, sequencing ideas clearly, and responding naturally to Emma's suggestions. Conversations like these about planning or organizing activities provide excellent chances to practice English in meaningful ways. Learners can combine careful listening with clear speaking while using advanced vocabulary and complete sentences. Throughout the week, Daniel reflected on his experiences. He noticed that every meeting, discussion, or even a simple conversation was a chance to practice English. From professional situations like client presentations and team meetings to informal settings like gardening with Emma or chatting at networking events, there were constant opportunities to improve listening, speaking, and comprehension skills. He realized that by actively listening, asking clarifying questions, summarizing information, and responding thoughtfully, he could gradually build fluency, accuracy, and confidence. Daily practice, even in ordinary situations, is extremely effective for advanced learners who want to master vocabulary, sentence structures, and professional expressions naturally. By the end of Friday, Daniel felt satisfied with his week. He had attended seminars, participated in discussions, planned activities with Emma, and engaged in professional meetings. Each experience helped him strengthen listening skills, improve vocabulary, and practice expressing ideas clearly and precisely. Daniel understood that learning a language is not just about studying or reading textbooks. It is about observing, listening, speaking, and interacting in real-life situations. Whether in professional, social, or personal contexts, every conversation or activity can become a valuable learning opportunity. His week showed that consistent effort, attention to detail, and a willingness to communicate help advanced learners use English effectively in all areas of life. On Saturday, Daniel attended a seminar on digital innovation led by Miss Collins. She explained new trends, useful tools, and strategies for adapting to changes in the market. Daniel listened carefully, took detailed notes, and asked questions to understand better. He also thought about how he could use these ideas in his own projects. Seminars like this help learners hear structured speech, learn advanced vocabulary, and see practical examples from professional life. After the seminar, Daniel and Emma planned a short trip to a nearby cultural center. They discussed travel routes, schedules, and activities they could do there. Daniel listened attentively, asked clarifying questions, and shared his own ideas clearly. Conversations about planning and organizing are excellent ways to practice comprehension, using new words and responding naturally in everyday life. Later in the afternoon, Daniel met his friend Sophia to talk about teamwork strategies. Sophia shared her experiences in managing deadlines, resolving conflicts, and motivating team members. Daniel listened carefully, asked follow-up questions, and thought about how to apply these ideas in his own work. Conversations with peers help learners improve both professional understanding and language skills. Daniel noticed how using clear explanations and structured sentences makes communication more effective. In the evening, Daniel reflected on all the experiences he had during the week. He thought about professional meetings, casual chats with friends, community events, and daily activities. He remembered new words, expressions, and sentence structures he had heard. Writing or thinking about these experiences helps learners remember and understand new language better. Later, Daniel and Emma prepared dinner together. While cooking, they discussed new recipes, techniques, and ideas for family gatherings. Daniel listened carefully, asked questions when needed, and offered detailed suggestions. Even simple tasks like cooking can become useful practice for listening, speaking, and using descriptive language. On Sunday, Daniel attended an online business panel with Mr. Thompson and Miss Allen. They shared case studies, discussed challenges in their industries, and offered practical solutions. Daniel listened closely, asked thoughtful questions, and summarized key points for himself. Panels like these expose learners to formal speech, professional vocabulary, and complex sentence structures. Later, Daniel and Emma reviewed their weekend plans and prepared for the week ahead. They discussed travel arrangements, household tasks, and community activities. Daniel asked questions, listened carefully, and responded naturally. Conversations like these give learners a chance to practice expressing ideas clearly, sequencing information logically, and using advanced vocabulary in daily life. By the end of the weekend, Daniel realized that every interaction, professional, social, or domestic, was an opportunity to practice English. From attending seminars and panels, engaging in discussions with colleagues, planning trips, cooking with Emma, or reflecting on his week, he found ways to improve comprehension, vocabulary, and fluency. Daniel understood that learning advanced English is not only about studying grammar or vocabulary. It is about noticing how language is used in real situations, listening carefully, asking questions, summarizing information, and responding thoughtfully. His week showed him that, with focus and practice, every conversation, task, or meeting can become a meaningful opportunity to improve listening and speaking skills naturally. On the weekend, Daniel attended an online business panel with Mr. Thompson and Miss Allen. They shared case studies, discussed challenges in their industries, and gave practical recommendations. Daniel listened carefully, asked questions to understand better, and summarized the key points for himself. Panels like this are excellent for advanced learners because they allow learners to hear formal language, structured speech, and complex expressions. They provide a great opportunity to practice comprehension and professional communication skills. After the panel, Daniel and his wife Emma planned their weekend. They talked in detail about activities, travel options, and practical arrangements. Daniel listened attentively to Emma's suggestions, asked clarifying questions, and shared his own ideas clearly. Conversations about planning trips or events are useful for practicing descriptive language, organizing information logically, and speaking naturally in everyday situations. That evening, Daniel reflected on his week. He reviewed all the new vocabulary, expressions, and communication techniques he had encountered. He thought about how careful listening, asking questions, paraphrasing, and responding thoughtfully helped him improve his English. He realized that practicing in different settings, professional meetings, social discussions, and daily activities strengthens comprehension, fluency, and confidence, helping learners use English naturally. At the start of the new week, Daniel faced a challenging task at work. He had to review a detailed market research report prepared by his team. Sophia had collected a lot of information about customer preferences and trends. Daniel read the report carefully, paying attention to how the data was presented and how conclusions were drawn. He marked sections that needed clarification and wrote questions to ask the team. Reviewing complex reports helps learners understand formal language, logical structure, and professional communication. After finishing the report, Daniel had a short discussion with Mark, a colleague responsible for social media campaigns. Mark explained recent engagement statistics, trends in user behavior, and suggested possible improvements. Daniel listened closely and asked detailed questions to make sure he fully understood everything. By listening actively and asking precise questions, Daniel was able to process technical information and plan the next steps effectively. This kind of work teaches advanced learners how to organize their thoughts and communicate clearly in professional settings. Later in the afternoon, Daniel joined a team brainstorming session. Sophia suggested new ideas for marketing campaigns, while Mark shared technical insights from recent data. Daniel summarized everyone's points, asked follow-up questions, and guided the discussion so all ideas were combined into a clear plan. Activities like this show how active listening, paraphrasing, and organizing information are essential skills for advanced learners. They help ensure that everyone is understood and that plans are well coordinated. At the end of the day, Daniel spent time reflecting on his experiences. He realized that every interaction, panels, seminars, team meetings, daily planning, and even casual conversations with Emma was an opportunity to practice English. He understood that learning advanced English is not just about memorizing grammar or vocabulary. It is about engaging in real situations, noticing language patterns, asking clarifying questions, and practicing natural communication consistently. By approaching every task with focus and attention, Daniel steadily improved his English fluency, comprehension, and confidence. Later, he attended a strategy meeting with Mr. Carter, a client who managed a regional business. They discussed ways to expand the company's digital presence and reach new customers. Mr. Carter explained his goals and challenges, and Daniel listened carefully, taking structured notes. He repeated key points to make sure he understood everything correctly. Summarizing discussions in your own words is a useful skill for advanced learners because it helps process information and respond confidently in professional situations. In the afternoon, Daniel met Laura for coffee. Laura shared her experiences organizing training sessions and workshops in human resources. She explained the difficulties in keeping participants engaged and described techniques that worked well. Daniel asked questions and discussed how he could use similar methods in marketing presentations. Informal conversations like this are a great way to learn professional vocabulary and practical expressions naturally. Later, Daniel joined a workshop led by Miss Collins on persuasive communication. Participants practiced delivering presentations and using language to convince audiences. Daniel paid close attention to tone, structure, and word choice. He noticed how small changes in phrasing could make a big difference in clarity and impact. Practicing these skills helps learners improve both listening and speaking in professional contexts. In the evening, Daniel returned home and talked with his wife, Emma, about the day. Emma shared her experiences at a community volunteering event, explaining how she coordinated tasks with other volunteers. Daniel asked questions about planning, communication, and problem-solving. Conversations like this provide opportunities to use precise language, describe details clearly, and practice active listening in everyday life. On Tuesday, Daniel joined a video conference with international partners. The participants spoke with different accents and used technical terms related to business and marketing. Daniel focused carefully, asked clarifying questions when needed, and took notes to capture important points. By actively listening and summarizing key ideas, he could fully understand the discussion and contribute effectively. Situations like these are ideal for advanced learners to strengthen comprehension and practice professional communication skills. Later in the afternoon, Daniel had a discussion with James about recent project results. James shared insights into client feedback, campaign performance, and possible improvements. Daniel listened attentively, asked follow-up questions, and summarized the findings for his team. Learning to process detailed information and respond thoughtfully is an essential skill for professional English users. That evening, Daniel reflected on his day. He thought about all the conversations, meetings, and workshops he had participated in. He realized that paying attention, Asking questions, summarizing, and responding clearly helped him learn new vocabulary, expressions, and sentence structures. By practicing English in real-life situations, from formal meetings and workshops to casual discussions at home, Daniel continued to build fluency, comprehension, and confidence. He understood that advanced English is learned not just through studying, but through active engagement in professional, social, and everyday contexts. Each interaction provided valuable practice and reinforced his ability to communicate naturally and effectively.